Happy New Year! 1st of January 2022. I hope you had a good Christmas. I hope you didn't overindulge too much. I think it's that time of year now where people start to look ahead at what the next 12 months has in store. And I think for most golfers, most people watching this will probably have some goals they're looking to achieve this year. I know I certainly do. And in this video, we're going to look at 7 New Year's resolutions for golfers. But what we're not going to do is list out a series of goals, things like breaking 100 or getting down to single figures or, I don't know, 3 birdies in a round, something like that. Instead, we're going to look at the things that you can either choose to do or choose not to do that will make a big difference, either to the scores that you're putting down at the end of the year or just to your enjoyment levels. So these are things that you might choose to do that will help you get more enjoyment or play a little bit better. And the last thing I'll say is that the last point that we get to is something that every golfer should probably do at some point during their golfing lives, but that most of us probably don't do. And it is well worth considering, so watch till the end. Right, let's get started looking at our 7 New Year's resolutions for 2022. Okay, so most people watching this video will want to play better in 2022. Nobody wants to play worse, for sure. And one of the important factors in playing better is your practice. Now, there are 2 things to mention here. There's time, and the investment in time, and then there's doing it well, so the quality of practice. Now, on the investment in time, I think a good New Year's resolution would be to commit yourself to doing 1 practice session a week, so 52 practice sessions across the course of the year. Now, that might be something that you're able to do sometimes from home. I know I've got a putting mat, which is really good for helping to improve my stroke. Or it might be at a golf facility, whether that's a driving range or the golf course, where you're just trying to kind of work on positions in your swing and do things a little bit better. But it's also worth mentioning that there's no point in devoting more time to practice if you don't do the right things. So don't go and ingrain the wrong things, it will only make you worse. And I'll put some links in below to some advice on how to practice better, how to practice smarter, so that you do come out from that investment in time with a better golf swing and a better overall golf game. But the hit for this part, the New Year's resolution is practice once a week for the whole year. If you do, and if you do it well, you should play better. Okay, so the next one is for all of those golfers watching this video who struggle with the opening tee shot at their home club. Okay, so I appreciate that some of this might well be down to the mental side of the game. So you've hit poor shots in the past that create negative thoughts, bad memories. None of that stuff is helpful, but there is a good chance that some of those poor shots that you've hit in the past have been caused by the fact that you're not fully warmed up and ready to go when you're stood on the first tee. So you can do something about that if you have a New Year's resolution that says, I will stretch before every round of golf I play. This might not sound like the most exciting New Year's resolution, but it could make a big difference, especially if you are throwing away shots at the beginning of your rounds. Okay, so this one is one that I think most people watching this video are going to want to try and do in 2022, and that's play more golf. But having simply a target of just playing more golf, I don't think is really much use. Instead, I think it helps to put a number on it. How many rounds of golf are you going to try and play this year? Now, I know that from looking at my ARCOS data, I played 21 rounds in 2021. I actually played a few more than that because I didn't use it on every single round of golf. So I reckon I played 27 rounds of golf last year. So a good target for me, given that I've got a young family, quite a lot going on work-wise, I reckon I can get to 30 rounds of golf, which would be more time spent doing the thing that I really enjoy doing, good for my health, obviously. So I think that would be a good target for me to have. Are you setting a target for the number of rounds you're looking to play in 2022? Leave some comments in the box below. So this one is all about swing changes, and I think the New Year's resolution is probably to get a course of lessons with a PGA professional. Try and do something about some of those really bad shots that you may have been hitting that have been costing you. You know, whether you're hitting big blocks out to the right or shanks with your mid-irons, or you've got a hook that you can't get rid of, you know, now's the time. Think about how you're going to rid yourself of that problem. One other thing I would do is I would video your golf swing now. So January 2022, take a video of your golf swing and then go through the course of lessons and really try to commit to what the coach is telling you to do. And then once that comes towards the end, then take another video of your golf swing, and hopefully you should be able to see a difference, a real improvement in the way in which you're swinging the golf club. Okay, so this one is for all of those golfers who feel as if they're not really hitting their potential as a player. They're not playing well enough when it matters, and therefore their handicap maybe isn't where it could be. And I think that's probably at least in part down to the fact that golf is incredibly difficult mentally. You know, when there's any number of things that could go wrong with any single shot that you're hitting, trying to focus on the positives is really difficult. And that's where a good pre-shot routine comes in. So maybe a good New Year's resolution would be to develop a pre-shot routine that you repeat religiously, not just on the golf course, but also when you practice as well. It's all about trying to feel comfortable regardless of the situation, so that whenever the situation gets more pressured and you feel that pressure on your shoulders, you're doing something that you're, in the back of your mind, you feel comfortable with, that you've done before. It can make a big difference. I know that for me, when it comes to putting, I take 3 practice swings while looking at the hole, move in behind the ball, and then I take a deep breath just before I take the putter back, exhale, and then I go. And I think if you can have a routine that you follow, as I say, in practice and when you play, you'll start to feel more comfortable more often. It can make a difference. Okay, so the next New Year's resolution to consider is think about developing a go-to shot. So a shot that you can use off the tee on any hole that you don't like the look of. Now this will take some work in practice. So I'd say head to the range and picture a drive at maybe at your home club that you don't like the look of, and then try and come up with a plan. So a club and a swing thought that you feel are trusted and reliable, that are going to send the ball where you need it to go. Even if you are taking off a bit of distance, even if it means that you're not as far up the hole as you could otherwise be, but that you're not in any danger. It's something that we do hear tour players talking about quite a bit. So my go-to shot, I'd probably use my hybrid, and I'd try and hit a fade. And I have a particular swing thought that I think helps me do that. And the important point here is that I have practiced it. I have spent time at the range, hitting shot after shot, trying to see that same ball flight, so that when I get to the golf course, I run through that same process and hopefully it works. It doesn't always work. It doesn't always work, but I think for the most part, having a plan for those holes that you don't like the look of has got to be a good idea. Now I'm going to hit it here. This wouldn't be one of those holes. I usually hit driver on this hole, but I'm going to have a go at my little hybrid fade. Well, it started down the left and it stayed there, but it's just in the left-hand semi. That's absolutely fine. And I think for any hole which is tricky, that's the sort of shot I'd be absolutely delighted with. Okay, so the last one on my list is to have a putting lesson. It's probably the easiest one to do. It probably would have the biggest direct influence on your scoring potential, but it's also the one that I think fewest people watching this will actually go ahead and do. And I think that's probably because for most golfers, the full golf swing feels like a really technical, quite complicated movement that's hard to get right. And so that naturally their attention tends to focus on the long game. But the truth is, none of us are ever going to be perfect from tee to green. But one area where we can all improve and definitely make some strides is on the green. If you can hold more putts, then you will shoot lower scores. So having a putting lesson does seem like a sensible thing to do. I know that from my own experience, having worked with putting coaches in the past, I have certain tendencies in my stroke that I never knew existed. But having Some drills and things to work on can help me improve the quality of my stroke and hopefully hold a few more putts. Having said that, I definitely have work to do in this department. Let's see if we can hold this one. So there you have it, that's a look at my list of 7 golfing New Year's resolutions. I wouldn't suggest you do all of them, maybe just one of them, but hopefully they are all things that you can do and that will help you either play a little bit better or just simply enjoy the game a little bit more. And I think those two things do go hand in hand. And if you can do that, then you will have a more enjoyable 2022 on the golf course. But that's it for now. Happy New Year. Thank you for watching, but from the London Club, it's goodbye.